is the reason holy wars are fought. Our tolerance of things that purport to be godly but are instead false and destructive is why Islam exists. It is why Muslim militants kill us. It is why the world is and has been in such a horrible mess. So why didn't Muhammad initially name his dark spirit? Why did he begin by calling him by the Hebrew, hence Hanif title, Lord? Why did he finally name him after arrival to the Meccan Allah? Good questions all. And since the Muslim sages don't provide a viable answer, I'll propose one, speculative as it might be. Khadijah converted Muhammad by telling him that her aged cousin said that he was a prophet in the line of Moses. This man knew that the Jews called their God Lord. But the Meccans were not satisfied with the title. All gods had names. Even pagan stone idols had names. Why not Muhammad's God? If he were so important, he must have a name. That put the wannabe prophet in a pickle. If he called his God by any of the most familiar pagan names, Hubal, Allah, Allat, the feminine form of Allah, Manat or Al-Uzza, something would be expected of them. After all, if they could give such marvelous Quran recitals, why not a miracle? Since these idols were close at hand, it would have been hard to explain away their lack of participation in the prophet's mission. With the Meccan pantheon too close for comfort, Muhammad did what he did best. He stole someone else's material. The Hanifs had a religion, and they had a god, one who lived a comfortable distance away. He simply appropriated their material and their deity. Ar-Rahman was perfect, in a twisted sort of way. His name meant merciful. As such, it became a way to disguise the Quran's demented edge. It's like calling the communist dictatorship in China a republic. Each of the initial Quran surahs reflected Hanif beliefs and religiosity, not Jewish. The convoluted Bible stories we covered during the creation and patriarch chapters were revealed much later, after the prophet had exhausted the rather anemic belief structure of the Hanifs and needed something more. And that, too, is interesting. The Quran's reliance on the Bible varies inversely with access to the Kaaba, Allah's house, and directly with access to Jews. If Allah or Ar-Rahman were God, why would that be? While you're pondering that conundrum, consider this. The moment Muhammad migrated to Medina, he capitalized upon the opportunity that distance from Mecca's impotent rock idol provided. In the second surah, the first revealed after fleeing Mecca, Ar-Rahman became Allah. You see, Allah and his house were now a safe distance south. God changes his name so Muhammad can lay claim to that which he has been chased away from, the religious scam surrounding the Kaaba. Ar-Rahman is never to be heard from again. He simply fades into the amorphous world of attributes. As we return to the Quran, we find Muhammad embroiled in an argument, one that fits nicely into the abused theory.
Quran 67, verse 21. Who is there that can provide you with food in case he was to withhold his provision? Nay, they obstinately persist in rebellion and aversion. Is then one who walks headlong, groping, groveling on his face, better guided, or one who walks evenly on a straight path?
The quality of this writing is so pathetic, it almost makes you feel sorry for Muhammad. Almost.
Verse 25. They say, when shall this threat be executed, if you are truthful? Say, as to the knowledge of the time, it is with the Lord alone. I am sent only to warn you clearly.
The Meccans were looking for a little proof, but our hero couldn't provide any. The best he could do was say, if you just wait, one day when you least expect it, my God will get you.
But when they see the threat, the sorry faces of those who disbelieve will be distraught, and it will be said to them, this is what you asked for. Say, Muhammad, see whether God destroys me and those with me or not. No one can deliver the unbelievers from their grievous doom. Say, he is our Rahman, in him we believed, and in him we have placed our trust. Soon you will know which one of us is in manifest error.
Yes, we will. But it saddens me that 2 billion precious souls have already been lost to the egregious lie that became Islam. Muhammad tried to prove that Ar-Rahman was real.
Verse 30. Say, just think, if your water were to dry up, who would bring you water?
The Meccans were dependent upon the meager and nearly bitter well of Zamzam. Mohammed was telling his clan that its feeble flow was a miracle from Ar-Rahman, a clear sign that he was God. He was threatening, "Mess with me, and my God will cause you to die of thirst." According to Mohammed, if it trickled forth, it was a miracle. If it dried up, that too was miraculous. In actuality, the only miracle was that anyone believed him. I'm surprised he didn't claim that as a sign.
The entire teaching of Islam and the object of the Prophet's mission
is the Prophet craves power and will threaten anyone to get it. His God's name is Ar-Rahman, and he is sadistically abusive. Stars are missiles used to drive away devils. Muhammad's kin claims that he was deluded. For that they will endure flames, roaring with rage. All the while they will be interrogated. The Lord must be feared, not loved, for he will swallow his creation, pelting them with showers of stone. His punishment is as terrible as his wrath. Ar-Rahman has armies ready to march. He threatens to besiege communities, withholding food and water from those who grovel on their faces. What's more, the Islamic God's grievous doom cannot be avoided. The
concrete reality
surah was one of the earliest revealed. Although it's an odd choice of names, concrete didn't exist in Mecca. The 69th surah was sent down at a time when opposition to Muhammad had started, but had yet to come to a boil. Madudi shares a tradition from Musnad Ahmad, explaining,
"Before embracing Islam, I came out of my house with the idea of causing trouble for the Prophet, but he had entered the mosque of the Kaaba before me. When I arrived, I found that he was reciting Surah Al-Haqqa,
which is Surah number 69.
I stood behind him and listened. I wondered at its literary charm and beauty. Then suddenly an idea came to my mind that he must be a poet, as the Quraysh alleged. At that moment he recited the words, 'This is the word of an honorable messenger.'"
Muhammad had just said that the Quran was the word of a messenger, not God.
"It is not the word of a poet." I said to myself, then he must be a soothsayer, if not a poet. Thereupon he recited the words, "Nor is it the word of a soothsayer."
Experience for yourself the literary charm and beauty of the
concrete reality.
surah.
Quran 69, verse 1. The sure calamity. What is the sure calamity, and what would make you realize what the sure calamity is? The Thamud and the Ad people branded as false the stunning calamity. Samud and Ad called the striking calamity a lie. But the Thamud, they were destroyed by a terrible storm of thunder and lightning. And the Ad, they were destroyed by a furious roaring wind, exceedingly violent. He made it rage against them 7 long nights and 8 days in succession, so that you might see the people lying prostrate in its path, as if they were hollow palm trees tumbled down. Muhammad, do you see any remnant of them?
We're right back to God pummeling his creation. This time the Ad and the Thamud are his victims. One of these tribes, the Ad, is mythological, while the Thamud is alleged to have been a smallish village that might have existed somewhere north of Mecca, one long since buried in the shifting sands. But buried was not forgotten. It provided Muhammad with fodder for his favorite depiction of the Almighty. God hates men, especially when they tease his prophet. The Ad and Thamud mocked and denied, so the big guy creamed them. It doesn't get any more charming and beautiful than that. On a roll, Muhammad used the same trick to twist some Bible stories to suit his situation.
Quran 69, verse 9. Pharaoh and those before him and the cities overthrown,
he wants to say Sodom and Gomorrah, but he doesn't yet know their names,
committed habitual sin. They disobeyed, believing the messenger of their Lord.
Again, he has yet to learn Lot's name. It took access to Jewish rabbis and lots of practice before Team Islam became good at plagiarizing the Bible. The first few attempts were jerky and incomplete.
So he punished them with an overwhelming penalty, a vehement punishment. Allah gripped them with a tightening grip.
This is vague also, because Muhammad wasn't aware of the 10 plagues.
We